So we are opening a blank workbook to start with our macros. Okay. We need to go to developer and click on Visual Basic, or you can also use a shortcut Alt F11. It will take you to this window.
I can't
Current
see the screen, ma'am.
Let me share it.
Screen is not visible.
Okay. Now is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. See, now you're seeing Project Explorer and this properties window. Now let me insert a standard module to just start with your simple VBA macros. How to start writing macros to show that I'm inserting a standard module. Let me right click here, insert module. You need to choose this. As soon as you choose that, you get a code window here and you will be able to see option explicit. If it is not visible in your system, don't worry. I'll be explaining the importance of this option explicit when we teach you this data types and variables. So at that point of time, we require this option explicit. Currently, even if it is not there, don't worry. Okay. So now we have a blank standard module. Now this acts just like a folder which contains many files. So within this module, I can keep on writing different macros and it will be contained in this particular module. I want to rename it. I'll just say basic programs. I can rename this module over here. Okay. So now to begin with, you need to first know how to uh, use the syntax, how to start a macro. I'm just displaying that to you currently. You need to begin with sub. Sub is a keyword here which indicates it's a subroutine. Subroutine is a name used, they have taken this term from an assembly level language program, ALP programs we call them. So we usually used for programming your electronic items. Okay. So there they used to call it as macros and subroutines. So they have taken the same name over. They have carried the same name to VBA programs as well. So sub or is known as subroutine, macros, programs, procedure, all these are same. Okay, sub indicates you are beginning a macro. Even before you start it, you need to give this keyword. It indicates you are beginning a macro. After you do this, you need to provide the name to your macro. So you need to provide a name. And let's say I want to mm, print something in a cell, let's say. Fine. So over here, I'll have to follow the other things like object hierarchy, for which object I am writing the instruction. So I gave a name to this macro. There are certain rules that has to be followed in order to provide the name to the macro. So they are, it has to always start from an alphabet. Okay. There should not be, you cannot use any special characters other than underscore. You can use underscore. Other than this, not even space. Even space is not allowed here. Okay, you can use underscore if you want to. And you can also use numbers, but followed by text, but not in the first character. It should always begin with a alphabet. Next thing, you cannot use VBA keywords in your program name. So there are a lot of VBA keywords here. I just take this sub, end sub, if, while, for. These things are certain keywords. They cannot be used as your program name or macro name. Okay. So these are the rules that you have to follow in order to provide a macro name. And always make sure your macro name is a little meaningful. Maybe you are going to keep it short, but it should indicate the purpose of your macro so that it will be helpful for you to choose those macros whenever you're running. If you have a huge list of macros to run, you will not understand what is program one, ABCD, or your name, my first program. These names will not work. I mean to say, uh, even if you provide such names, your macro might execute. Down the line, after few months, if you want to check your material, if you want to check your files, you will not understand why you gave that name. So always try to provide names which are meaningful and which will tell you what is the purpose of that macro. Okay, so these things you have to keep in mind while giving a name to the macro. After this, we are going to start writing the program. So I gave cell value. I want to print a value within a cell. Now, how to do that? So you need to remember the object hierarchy. The first thing is application, then workbook name. So we'll say workbook. You need to provide the workbook name. So here it is, book one. I'm just showing you the syntax. Okay, dot again sheet. There are various ways to refer to books and sheets name. So there are 2-3 ways in which you can refer to sheet. I will show you this way. Dot and within sheet, see, you remember the object hierarchy. First is your application, next workbook, then sheet. So within sheet, what are you trying to access? I want cell C1. So even a single cell in VBA is referred to as range. So you can say C, let's say C4. You need to provide the address of that cell and then mention the property or method. What do you want to perform there? So we are trying to change the cell value. Value is the property here. I want to set value to this property. I'll say VBA class. Since it's a text that we are using, it should be provided in double quotes. If you want to print a number, you will directly put it in without any double quotes over there. Now, I execute it. See, to execute, you have to place the cursor in the macro. You have a green button here, just like a play button. You can click on it, or you could also use F5 as the shortcut key to execute your macro. Okay, to see the result of the macro, you have to switch back to Excel sheet. So you can either use this icon or again give Alt F11. This will show you the result. So it has printed VBA class in cell C4 of sheet 1. But again, you don't have to write this huge line over here. VBA gives us some concession. Okay, like it is going to consider the current application in which you are writing the macro, that is Excel, and it will also consider the current workbook in which you are writing the program. But I say you can mention from the sheet name. That's enough. In which sheet, which cell you want to print. So from here you can start writing your macros. It is going to still consider it as a valid code. Okay, because it is going to consider the active workbook and the active application. You could also skip giving this sheet name. In this case, it is still applicable, but if you have many sheets, whichever sheet is kept active, whichever sheet is you are using currently, in that sheet this will get executed. So to avoid such things, you can start mentioning from sheet name and the cell address or shape name or whichever object you are using on that particular sheet. Okay, so this is a very simple macro that we have written, and I have written using the sub keyword. So you need to understand something here. Sub is a subroutine which is not going to return any value. It just executes the instructions that you provide and it will end the macro. That's all. But there is something else known as function. Function is something which is going to execute the macro and return the value for you. So it is used to return a value, and these functions can be used as a formula in your Excel sheet directly. They can be used like that, but sub cannot be used like a function. Now let me show you a small example of function. You need to begin a function with the function keyword, and you need to mention the name of that function. You need to provide a proper name. So here I'm going to show you with few variables and other things. Don't get confused. We'll be covering these variables and data types in the later stages. Currently you learn with only single line macros as of now. To differentiate the sub and function, I'm giving you this explanation. Okay. I'll say subtract numbers, sub nums. I'll give the name of the function like this. And over here, I'll consider num1 as integer, num2 as integer. See, this integer is a data type which indicates the input should be a number. Okay, we'll be going in detail for these things in the further chapters. So here you need to provide what should be done with it. So I can say sub nums is equal to num1 minus num2. I'll just give this. So this function can be used anywhere. You just have to pass variables to it and it will work like that. Okay. So let me show you how to use this in an Excel sheet. So now that you have given it, let me choose some numbers here. It says sub nums. Can you see? It has appeared now. So for this, I can select it. Sorry, one by one you need to select. So how you have provided your parameters in the same fashion you need to give. See, it's going to give me the subtraction. So I just showed a very simple function. Likewise, you can design these functions the way you want. These functions can be used in other programs as well, just by calling the name of the function and passing the values to it through variables. Okay, so this is the difference between sub and function. Sub will execute, the subroutine will only execute the instructions that you provide and it doesn't return any value. And the subroutines can be called in various programs in the different modules in different ways. Okay, but function can be called only when you pass variables to it. You need to provide the value to it for it to perform that action and it will return value. So these are the major differences between sub and function over here. You also have it in detail in the material that I share you. So there they have used a different example. They have used adding numbers. I just showed you subtracting numbers here. Okay. Now you saw how to print a cell value. So now let me show you also how to provide comments. See, comments are something very essential part of any programming language. It is used for the description sake. Now, suppose you are developing this tool for someone or for your own organization, let's say, you would like to have a record of, what is this about. If it is a really bigger project on which you're working, you need to have a note on such things. Let's say who were involved in this project, in which organization it was developed for, when it was started. These things can also be included. And comments, more than that, is used always for the code of lines which are really complex. or if you have any workarounds developed for those things, to explain why we have used such a code. For that purpose, we use the comment lines. Now I can say macro to print a value in cell. So here I can mention macro, or I can say, yeah, a function to subtract numbers. So you can use these comment lines to provide such description. Okay, and you can also use the same to disable some lines. Now let's say you have many lines in the code, you don't want some lines to execute, you can just go and comment them. To begin a comment, you have to begin with a single quote. It becomes a comment. So if I have to make this line a comment, I'll just give a single quote, it becomes a comment and it will not be executed. Okay, to skip a block of code lines, so you can do so. Now let's say I have to select this entirely. I want to make this macro entirely a comment. I don't want this to execute at all. Instead of deleting it, you could just select all those lines that you want to comment, and you have an option here. I already have the toolbar present. If you don't have it, just go to view, you have toolbars and choose edit toolbar. You will get this toolbar over here. In this edit toolbar, you have got comment block option. Now when you select this, it will block comment, a line of code like this, a block of code like this. I had selected this, I just use this comment block. This entire block is commented now. The same manner you can use it to uncomment it as well. Just select it, you have uncomment block, click on it, it will be uncommented. And don't think adding more number of comment lines will increase the file size or it is going to affect my code. Nothing as such. It is used for the description sake. Here I can say, see here again I can add a comment saying function. So here num1 and num2 are numbers less than 32,767. I'm just going to give it this way. Here I can give another comment. This, you need to just put a single quotation mark. It will make the comment. Okay. So here I can just say for text value, use double quotes, or you can write it, double quotes. You can give such comments. Okay, and there is another way as well. You can also use rem keyword. There is something known as rem. Even this will make a line as a code and comment. Okay, so rem is also going to make a line of code as a comment, or you can also begin it with rem to just give some text like this. Even if it is not a line of code, you can use it to comment it. So if you don't leave any quotation mark or rem, it is going to consider it as a syntax error because there is no such line of code. Okay, for that reason you need to give this comment line so that it will be considered as a descriptive text and it is not mistaken for any line of code here. Is it clear to all of you till here? See over here in this macro, till here it is the object hierarchy that we have followed. First is sheet. Within sheet we have a cell. Okay. To connect
Okay.
these two, again I have used the dot operator. So value is the property of this particular object. Range is an object, that is cell. See, range can be used even for a single cell or multiple cells that we select in VBA. Okay,
Yes.
so for all that we refer to it as range only. So
Okay.
here we have given the address. So what property of this I should be using? For that again I'll mention a dot and then start giving the properties. So I have used value property here. If I have to change the color, I'll use the different property. So based on what action you want to perform, you will give that after your object hierarchy is given. So till here it is object hierarchy. Next is the last objects, whatever you have mentioned here. So about that, what you're trying to change, that you are mentioning here. Okay.
So ma'am, till now we have nowhere called the method. The method has not come in the picture yet,
No,
right?
no, no. We have only used value here. Value is a property. I have not shown you how to use a method. Okay. I have not yet shown you how to use a method. Methods are
One last.
actions that you perform on that object, like copying it, pasting it, inserting, deleting. These things are methods. So till now we have only used the property.
But ma'am, here also we are assigning a value to that cell. Now we are doing some action on the cell. Like we
Value,
are
that's what I'm telling you. Anything that is used to describe an object, its appearance, it is what are its contents, and the border, color, font, all these things are going to be describing that object. Okay, all those that describe an object are considered as properties. You
ma'am,
understand?
in,
So
so what?
yesterday, in the last class, we discussed there are two types of properties. One is read write and one is read only.
Exactly.
Okay, so this value is a read write property.
Yes.
So read write means you can set some values to those properties, like value, like font color, font name. So there are many properties for which you can set values. Okay, is it clear?
Yes. Ma'am, just a last question, ma'am. Ma'am, in the second macro, it's sub underscore nums. So this is the name of the function.
Name of the
So
function, yes. Okay,
so
I'll not confuse you guys. I'll just write subtract nums. Okay, so now it should not break your head. Yes.
okay, ma'am. So as you told that this function is returning a value.
Yeah.
So, but we have not used that word return because we normally use the word return whenever a procedure or function returns a value, right?
In which
So,
programming language?
I mean, I believe in
Yeah.
I believe in
So
C
don't
language.
confuse Deepak. Always see, this is my suggestion to everyone who is learning. Don't have the judgment of learning something new. When you have this previous knowledge, this is the problem. You start judging the things that you're learning now from your previous knowledge. Don't do that. It will only mess up and it will slow down your learning process. Okay, so when you're learning something new, you come afresh. You're just like a baby now. You don't know anything about programming language. Let's say you're learning from that point. So you consider it that way, you will learn anything faster, not only programming language. When you're learning something, make sure you unlearn first. So most of the adults like us, we have this problem. When we start learning new things, so we start judging it from the previous knowledge that we have. That will cause all the problem. Okay, so there is no written keyword used here in VBA. We don't have anything as such. Okay.
Okay,
Hello.
okay. Okay.
Yes, Ali, tell me.
Ma'am, here the function,
Hmm.
can you write only one function? You can write two or function in one
You
function.
can write as many functions as you want, Ali.
No. I'm asking
Hmm.
in the function subtract num only. I will write as a add num is equal to n N1 plus N2. Can I write that way also? In the only one
No,
function to
see here.
two works. Yeah.
For that, you have to write a separate function. In this function, whatever name you are using for the function, the same thing will be assigned with the calculation. You see here, I have used the same name of the function over here. What should this function return? It is taking input of num1 and num2 and it is subtracting it. So I have taken a very simple example here, and it will be stored in this. Wherever you use this function name, so that is where this value is provided, num1 minus num2. Okay. So you can't write in the same function, you can't write add num, multiply num, you can't. You have to write a separate function for that. So again, write function add nums and you give num1 as integer, num2 as integer, and again give that what function has to perform. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess this is clear. So I'll show you one more thing and I'll stop the class. See over here, I have used the sheet name that is mentioned in Excel. See, there are two names for a given sheet. You can see here. This happens only with sheets, guys. So let me add few more sheets here. And you can see those sheets over here as well. So you have two names here, repeating. Sheet 1, sheet 1. So same thing for all the other sheets also. But over here, you need to use the name which is present on the left hand side without brackets. See, when you use that, you don't have to provide this. So I'll show you. So there are number of ways to refer to a sheet, referring to sheets. So you have these many ways. In VBA macros, we can refer to a sheet as sheet 1. Sheet 1 is the code name that is available to us. So I'll mention this is code name. I'll tell you what is the difference between code name and Excel name. See, if you are referring to this particular sheet using Excel name, you will say sheets of and you provide the sheet name inside this within quotes. So this is using Excel name. And you can also go by sheet index. That also I'll tell you what is it. Sheets of 1. So this is known as referring to a sheet by its sheet index. In these three ways, you can refer to any given sheet. In all these three, I prefer you to go by code name. Now let me show you the same program using code name of a sheet. Just copy this and paste it here. See here, I'll use the code name. Say sheet 1. And let's see, I'll change the Excel name of this sheet 1. I'll say my sheet. Okay. So let me remove these things. Let me remove this one as well. Now let's see. I'll try to run the macro that we wrote for the first time. You see this one. And you observe here also, the sheet 1 that was mentioned inside the brackets has changed to my sheet. See, the name which is given within brackets is your Excel name. Anyone can come and change the Excel name right from your workbook. So anyone can change the sheet name. So this is going to affect your macros. How? Let me show you. If I run this now, okay, says ambiguous name. I have given the same name to this macro. I'll just say code name, something like this to differentiate it. See, it says subscript out of range. That means a given sheet name is not present anymore. This sheet name, it is trying to find in Excel over here. It's not present anymore. So your macros will not run. So it is not advisable to always go by your Excel name. This is the problem. If someone changes the sheet name, your macros will not stay valid. But in some cases, if you have to write in place of automations, we still go for this. Okay, wherein you require to refer to a sheet name only, then you can still go for it, but use it with a caution, saying if the sheet name changes, the macro will not execute properly. So with this caution, you can use it. Now let us execute this one, the one which we have given it now. This is the code name that I have used. So you can see the one which is without the brackets is known as code name. So I have used that here. Now let me execute it. You can see here in Excel sheet, it has executed the macro. So always we try to use the code name of the sheet rather than Excel name. You could also use sheet index, guys. Again, this is also a risky one. I'll tell you why. So I'll write the same macro using sheet index. Just remove this. Yeah. Here I'll say sheets of 1. I'll choose the same. Now let me change the position of the sheets. And I'll change the word as well. What I want to print here. I'll just say, let's say, welcome to class. Something like this. I want to print this one over there. Now, if I execute, according to you, it should print in the first sheet. Yes, sheet where we printed VBA class. Now let me change the cell address also. I'll give this in E4. Now if I run this, you see, in sheet 3 it is printing and not in my sheet that we have. Here it has not changed. It should have printed here in E4. It has not done that. But here we have got it. The reason is sheet index is going to work based on the order of your sheet arrangement. Now, whichever is placed in the first position, that will be considered. It is not going by any name, it is going by the arrangement of sheets. So, if I keep it back in the same place, and now if I execute this, you can see here, we got it here also. So, whichever is the first sheet in order, there it will execute if you are using sheet index. So compared to Excel name, code name is always better when compared to sheet index or Excel name. So with Excel name and sheet index, the problem is if your sheet position is changed or sheet name is changed, your macros will will not function properly the way you intend to. Okay, not that they are not useful. Scenarios might be different when you choose them, but use them with a caution. Okay, is it clear to all of you till here?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, guys. So then I'll end the session here. Hope you all, I'll be sharing this file also. And one more important thing, please stay online, all of you. See over here, we have written the macros. I didn't tell you how to save the file. You cannot save it as Excel. A normal Excel file cannot store macros. So when you tend to save it, you should always choose a place where you are going to save, and you should give this Excel macro enabled workbook. Only when you give this, your macros will be stored. Okay, I'll just choose this. say batch 2. This is our class 3, I guess. Yeah. So you need to save it as macro enabled workbook, Excel macro enabled workbook. Its file extension will change to XLSM. Okay, so you can check here in the title bar. We have the name of the book and the file extension has changed to XLSM, saying it is a macro enabled workbook. Only if you save it in this fashion, it is going to store macros in it. Okay, it might allow you to execute macros when you have not saved it as macro enabled workbook. But if you want those macros to stay in your file, you need to save it in this manner. Okay, so make sure as soon as you open a workbook to write macros, you save it immediately as macro enabled workbook so that you will not forget it. Okay, otherwise you might lose your programs. Anyways, it is going to display some warning message, but if you miss that, your macros will vanish. Okay, did you understand this?
Ma'am, you told that though the program might work fine, but you will lose the code. So it means that the functionality will be there, even if they lose the code, right?
Sorry?
Now you told that even if you forget to save it as XLSM,
Yeah.
then though the functionality might remain, but you will lose the code.
Functionality will not be there. That's what I'm telling you. Once your macros are not there, what will you execute?
Okay, so the functionality will be lost as soon as the macro is
Only
lost,
the
right?
data that is there on your sheet will be there. You will not find your macros and you will not be able to execute it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it is essential that you save your file as macro enabled workbook for you to use those macros again.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all, guys. Thank you so much.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night. Bye.